Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So, really quick, if you haven't seen my most recent episode from earlier today on, well, whatever this card's name is, the name has not been revealed just yet, but it's a really exciting Esper Commander, so yeah, check that one out when you've got some time. But don't move on and check out that episode until you've watched this episode on this lovely looking creature. Again, currently we do have the Japanese version of these cards, but we don't have the official English version yet, so I made my own. Now, keep in mind that this is not the official translation, but it's probably got to be pretty close, and actually, the name is something that was not translated, so I made up my own with Cuddles the Beholder, because, yeah, what name fits this creature better than Cuddles? Regardless, Cuddles the Beholder is a 5/5 Beholder that costs 3 red-black. It says whenever you attack a player, go target creature that player controls, tap it. And whenever an opponent attacks another one of your opponents, you and the attacking player each draw a card and lose 1 life. So there's actually quite a bit going on with this commander. First off, when you attack a player, you're going to be goading one of their creatures, and that creature also taps. Goad is essentially a keyword action that forces a creature to attack and to attack another player if able. So essentially, as long as you've got more than one opponent, this can be a very effective mechanic where you basically force a creature to attack, and they have to attack someone else. So it's kind of like getting your opponents to actually do your dirty work for you. Some of their creatures will have to go and swing at your opponents, which is either going to deal with their creatures or your opponent's creatures, or they're just going to dish out a lot of damage. But also, on top of goading the creature that you're targeting, you're also tapping it. Now that actually might seem like a small thing, but it can be really impactful. First off, the creature that becomes tapped is obviously not going to be able to block. Because of that, this benefits you in 2 ways. First off, obviously a creature that you're attacking with is not going to be blocked by that, so it can help get your creature through. Even just removing 1 blocker can make it a lot safer for you to attack that player. And secondly, they can't use that blocker to, block one of your creatures and die, and therefore not have to attack an opponent. So it kind of in a weird way protects that creature for you so that it can be used against your other opponents. Regardless, if you attack all 3 players, obviously you can goad up to 3 creatures, and yeah, that can be a very impactful and chaotic thing. You swing at your opponents, and your opponents, well, swing at each other. And again, that second part can be really huge as well. Whenever an opponent attacks another one of your opponents, you and the attacking player each draw a card and lose 1 life. So again, if you goad 1 creature for each of your opponents, well, they're going to be forced to attack each other with those creatures. So again, if you keep doing this, on each trip around the table, you can draw up to 3 cards. Now that will cost you 3 life, but that's a small price to pay. And also, even without goading, that can actually be a way to incentivize your opponents to, well, attack each other with at least 1 creature. Because when they do, they know they're going to get a small benefit as well. Now, first up though, let's jump into some creatures that you might want to consider for this deck, and I mainly want to focus on ones that are really low to the ground and can get through when they attack. So a creature like Tormented Soul is a very simple creature, but one that can be very effective in this deck. It's a 1/1 spirit for a black that can't block, but it also can't be blocked. So you're always safe to attack with this against any player. So if someone's got a good amount of defense up and they got a creature that you want to goad, well, just send this at them, and you know what? Now that creature is goaded and they're going somewhere else. So yeah, I would definitely focus on having a lot of low to the ground evasive creatures in this deck. Obviously, another fantastic form of evasion, though it's not as good as unblockable, but it's still very effective, is flying. So a creature like Eye Twitch can be fantastic in this deck as well, a 1/1 Eye Bat, because that's a thing. With flying, that costs a black, and it says when it dies, learn. So obviously you can get this down early, and it can be very effective at helping you goad, and also on top of that, when it dies, you actually get a benefit. And again, just a reminder for the purposes of Commander, learn is essentially rummage, so you discard a card to draw a card. Regardless, even a creature like Falmore Knight can be very impactful in this deck as well, though it doesn't technically have evasion. It's a 1/1 zombie knight for a black that has Death Touch, and again, Death Touch, while it's not evasion, is kind of, let's say, block deterrence. Your opponents can block it, but they're going to lose whatever creature blocks it. And typically, again, with a 1/1 like this one, they're going to be trading up and losing something that has higher value. So most of the time, they're just not going to block it. And on top of that, this one also has the Adventure, Profane Insight, and instant for a 2 and a black that says you draw a card and lose 1 life. So there is some flexibility to this card if you don't need that 1/1 Death Toucher in play just yet. So yeah, I would first focus on creatures that have a better form of evasion, but if you need some Death Touchers, don't be afraid to use them as well. Especially with some ones with some additional value and flexibility like this one. And speaking of a valuable creature with Death Touch, let's talk about Master of Cruelties. Master of Cruelties is a fantastic card in this deck. It's a 1/4 demon with first strike and Death Touch, and it costs 3 black and red. Now, Master of Cruelties can only attack alone, so please keep that in mind. But whenever it does attack a player and isn't blocked, that player's life total becomes 1. Master of Cruelties assigns no combat damage this combat. Again, with this deck, you can goad creatures and tap creatures down. So you can easily eat away at your opponent's defenses, and if they only have 1 creature left to block, well, Master of Cruelties can attack, goad it, and tap it down. And then since they didn't block, well, that player's life total just becomes 1. And again, because of your commanders, whenever an opponent attacks another of your opponents, you and the attacking player each draw a card and lose 1 life, well, that's kind of a death sentence. Again, that creature that you tap down is goaded, so whenever it attacks another one of your opponents, they're going to be losing that life, and that's the last life that they had. So in the right situation, Master of Cruelties can be incredibly impactful. And of course, that also means that Phage the Untouchable can be incredibly impactful as well. Phage is a 4/4 avatar minion that costs 3 black, 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 black. When she enters the battlefield, if you didn't cast her from your hand, you lose the game, so don't do that. And whenever Phage deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature, it can't be regenerated. When Phage deals combat damage to a player though, that player loses the game. So unlike Master of Cruelties, you don't have that restriction that can only attack alone, and whenever Phage gets damaged through, well, that player is dead. So yeah, again, with all the goading and tapping down creatures, you can get Phage through a lot of the time with this kind of a deck. Also with this kind of a deck though, we also might want to give our opponents more goodies to attack our other opponents with. So Rite of the Raging Storm can be a fantastic addition. It's an enchantment for 3 red, and it says creatures named Lightning Rager can attack you or planeswalkers you control. And at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player creates a 5/1 red elemental creature token named Lightning Rager. It has trample, haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifices creature. So essentially, hey, here's a free 5/1 hasty trampling token, have fun swinging at another player with it. And you can actually further incentivize that attack and all other attacks on an opponent with Crown of Doom. It's an artifact for 3 that says whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So that alone would be a very bad card, but luckily it also has pay 2, target player other than Crown of Doom's owner gains control of it, activate this ability only during your turn. So essentially, once you give this away, it can never come back to you. Your opponents can pay 2 during their turn to give it to someone else, but it's not coming back to you. So essentially, your opponents can always make each other an even bigger target and a further incentive to actually attack. And keep in mind, this also helps your low-to-the-ground creatures, again, just like that simple unblockable creature, hit for even more damage. Because instead of hitting for 1, they're going to be hitting for 3, and that makes a big difference throughout the game. Now, another type of card you might want to consider for this deck are curse cards like Curse of Opulence. It's an aura curse that costs a red and says enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a colorless artifact token named Gold. It has sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. So by getting this down early, you can put a big target on someone's back and really incentivize players to go after them. And the more and more you incentivize players to attack that player, and the more they do, the more value you get out of it. You can also utilize other types of curses like Curse of Fool's Wisdom. It's an aura curse for 4 black, and it says enchant player. Whenever enchanted player draws a card, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. So now you can really punish an opponent further with those extra card draws that you're giving them. And again, on top of that, you're going to be gaining 2 life, so yeah, that can really help mitigate the life loss that you're taking from the cards that you were drawing. And of course, if you want to lean really heavily into the curse style deck, Curse of Misfortunes is a fantastic card. It's an aura curse for 4 and a black, and it says enchant player. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library for a curse card that doesn't have the same name as a curse attached to enchanted player, put it onto the battlefield attached to that player, then shuffle your library. Basically, on each of your turns, you get to tutor out a new curse to punish that player even further. Again, further incentivizing that player to be attacked or targeted or to just benefit you even more. So yeah, there really are a lot of fun directions that you can take this commander. Now, one final card that I want to bring up, which ironically was also the final card that I brought up in the last episode, is Shadow Spear. It's an equipment for 1 that says equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink, which is nice because again, that can gain you back some of the life that you're losing, but that's not why it would be in this deck. The reason is that it has pay 1, permanents your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. This can really help you out because again, your commander says whenever you attack a player, goad target creature that player controls, so you do have to target it. If an opponent has a pesky creature with hexproof, you can't target that unfortunately, but you might want to. So yeah, Shadow Spear can be a good addition, though it is quite expensive. Regardless, again, even on a lower budget, this commander can be very powerful and a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see how players build around this commander, and I'm also excited to see what this commander's actual name is, though I think Cuddles the Beholder is a pretty fantastic name. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.